Oh, okay, you guys. So we're actually going to be doing something a little different with your girl. So I wanted to just, I wrote a bunch of notes here. You guys can see all my crazy notes. But I just wanted to touch base. This is just a little Kool Kidz Astro News, you feel me? And so this is just for us to pay attention to the planetary shifts and these eclipses and things that are happening around us right now, because this helps us to understand and conceptualize what we are going through and this energetic field of, these, this into this 3D realm of us being here on this planet. And it's like our bodies and minds and spirit is affected by these transits, which people don't really realize of, especially during like eclipse seasons. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Because this whole month of October, we're going to have the first eclipse. Well, this is actually going to be the second eclipse, but then we have another eclipse at the end of this month. So October is going to be a big transformative, like, everything's going to change in everybody's life. And especially being in Libra, it's in relationships to your identity. It's in relationships to your job, to your careers, to your whole belief system, to the reality of this whole life thing. And so I just wanted to jump on here to share some like key moments and dates and kind of what to understand about these planetary shifts and things, just so that it gives us more tools. Because the more we do this research, the more we understand, the more we can fully grasp and really know that how we can control our mood swings, how we can control our emotions, how we can have control of ourselves, period. And so with every, so solar eclipse, the next solar eclipse is on October 14th. The first one was back in April 20th of this year. So it's really looking back to what was happening back then in April. What seeds were we planting? What were we trying to manifest? What jobs or careers that we were, in at that time? And what was being changed or beginning? So that's a key moment of time to look back at to where we are now, because it's a pivotal time to understand within that time frame to now, are we doing the exact same thing? And are we still in that exact same cycle? So these are just like key questions to ask ourselves. And so with this solar eclipse that's happening on October 14th, this eclipse is happening for about a year. And so as I was saying, the next the following eclipse is going to be at the end of this month, on the 28th. So I'll do another video for this. But for now, we're going to be talking about the one for the 14th, and just key points and things to ask ourselves during this time. And so with this solar eclipse, it's a annular eclipse, which means it's further away from the Earth. So it's not going to be fully covering the moon, which we're used to seeing on all these like cool photos and stuff or whatever. And so the cool thing about this one is it's going to be, so it being further away means that we're going to be able to see like this ring of fire. And so where it's going to be more prominent into seeing the phase happening, it's going to be more south end of our state. So basically like the West Coast, California, Texas, Mexico, and like Central America is where it's going to be more visible to be able to see that eclipse happening. So any of the friends, in all these states that I have will be really dope to see if y'all have that time on October 14th. See what time frame it's going to show up for you guys. And take some photos. I would love to see them. Some photos, videos, or whatever. But it's going to be like partial here in the States, so we won't be able to see it as prominent as those areas, which is cool. I mean, man, to be able to see, I've seen an eclipse in Mexico actually last year, which was dope. It was such a vibe. Oh my God, what a vibe. It's so beautiful. Again, it's like, because these planetary shifts, they affect our system. It's energy. So we're connected to the planets and cosmos and all that, for my real ones that know. Okay, so back in October 14th, 2004 was the same eclipse that we're experiencing this year. So the South Node in Libra, back in October 14, 2004, the South Node in Libra is talking about like karmic energies and cycles and what we were moving like out of our relationships during that time, again, in jobs and our career, all of it, you feel me? And so we're really looking back, way back into that cycle of what was going on back in 2004. And so are we seeing anything shift or changing, or that has changed, or are things still resurfacing, or are things still in the same cycle? So for me, for instance, back in 2004, that was a big pivotal time for me. I feel like, and doing all this research and stuff, it's so fun. I love this. But for me, it was most definitely a pivotal time where I felt it was time for me to pursue more of the spiritual work and really shift my perspective on how to begin like my self-mastery, I would say. But 2004 was definitely a pivotal time, and to really conceptualize it and see how it's all formed into what it is now. It's like, man, so much like life has happened since then. And it's really, it's crazy to be in that full circle back to where I'm originally from, because back then was when I graduated from high school. Y'all do the math. But, and for it to be this solar, this eclipse now here in October, and to have that full circle, it's like, holy shit. Like, your girl has gone through a cycle. So from that time frame to now, it's like, man, so many chapters of life has happened, And so it's really to look back and see how those energies in the past and time frame and what was going on, how it relates to now. And so moving forward with solar eclipse, it's really about, again, it's energy. So during these times, it's really diving into our subconscious minds. So with the solar eclipse being in Uranus is a very like auspicious and very like unexpected changes, and like, you're feeling very like rebellious, or just the energies are intense. So that also is the intensity within our bodies, right? And so again, with these shifts and changes as we're moving along on these through these phases, it's really understanding our being in Libra. It's really understanding how are we organizing our subconscious and conscious minds to elevate higher into our higher being, and being aware of how our bodies are shifting and feeling during this time. And these new cycles, allowing like these new cycles and these new changes to exist for us in the relationships, and just how we feel about relationships, how we feel about our jobs, how we feel about connecting with people. And so it's really during this time, because the eclipse season, the reason why it's called eclipse season, because there's there's a couple eclipses that are happening within the month. So this is lasting. So the first one is happening, which actually started October 14th, and it goes it started on October 4th, and it's going exact on the 14th. And then it's going to end on November 7th. So that's why it's called eclipse season. And so during this time, it's really to focus on our meditation, our reflective time of just really doing this groundwork of the self-mastery, of really understanding these shifts and why everything is existing and what we need to let go of. Again, it's like with the solar eclipse and the eclipse season, it's really cutting through and tossing out all the karmic cycles that are no longer going to be a part of the journey. And, the more we let go, the more we are able to evolve higher into our higher consciousness. And so really to take this time to pay attention to your dreams, these epiphanies that are going to be coming up around, this time, to really sit and ground and get into nature and meditate, do breath work, stretching, really pay attention to our bodies, right? As I was saying, what are we feeding our bodies? What are we consciously watching, on TV, on YouTube, on, what are we listening to? Who are the people that we're around? And, it's really to balance out, the harsh situations that will be presented in our lives, to find that healthy, selfish balance of, yes, being a part of our day-to-day, life, but also taking the time away to give yourself the space to not absorb so much of these harsh energies that are around during this time, especially. And so really taking the time to meditate, journal, all of that, rest, eat healthier, lighter meals, stretching, going to the gym, move the body around to, get the circulation flowing in our bodies, especially when we're going through these upgrades and these transitions, is to really take care of our mind, body, and soul, right? And so what else do we got going? All these notes for you guys. I love it. Okay, so more into the planetary stuff. So expect our bodies changing, especially. And so hydrating, again, it's like really, especially being empaths and being pushed into this higher being, our bodies need that time to rest and recoup and regenerate, recover, and hydrating. So getting next to water to, really ground out, is what's being focused at this time. And it's no coincidence too, especially with our bodies going through these phases and upgrades and things. It's no coincidence that October 4th, they decided that there would be a cellular alert for the whole entire nation or whatever. And so, specifically on October 4th, to help interrupt, our bodies during this time, especially because it's eclipse season, which is, a lot of intensity, a lot of intense energy. So it's no coincidence that they want to push that alert to help with this interruption, that the energy is so intense to cause our bodies to, really like be affected by the intensity of this energy. So being aware of, how everything just plays a role and factor of how society is built, and when they decide to put specific dates and times to do specific things, it really relates to our planetary system. So really take note of that and be aware of that as well. Okay, so let's talk about some planet stuff. So Mars is in south node of the moon. Mercury's in Libra on October 4th. So I'm recording this on the 5th. So whenever you receive this, it still resonates during the times, because again, it's this whole month that October is going to be this big shift for everybody, especially if you are a Libra, which I am a Libra, and I have a lot of the placements with these planetary shifts and things that are happening in my birth chart. And so really understanding your birth chart is what's going to help you navigate through this phase and this time, but even just understanding your superpowers. So Mars in conjunct Saturn, which Saturn is Earth. It's a 3D realm, right? And so it's the polar opposite of Neptune, which Neptune is about our dreams, and it's the ethereal realm, and it's that auspicious, unseen, and so being in Libra, it's that duality of both. And so when Mars is squaring Pluto, and Pluto is about death and rebirth. And so in tarot, death and rebirth, that's exactly what's going on during this time. And then Venus goes into Virgo the same day that the same day that Mars squares Pluto. So meaning basically Pluto being the death and rebirth, and Venus being love. So there's going to be a lot of shifts in relationships to marriages that, you thought you're supposed to be in for the rest of your life. That's shifting. Relationships to, your job, careers that you thought you were going to be doing. That's changing. Financial, moving to a different place. All of that in relationship, your self-mastery, your relationship to self, that death and rebirth within ourselves, and even with, God and our ancestors. It's that death and rebirth of, what is this, these questions that are coming up. It's what is this really? And am I fully in my divine power to be connected to this higher power, right? And so it's really uncovering these hidden truths. It's really uncovering and rediscovering ourselves, and it's this death to rebirth. Again, it's we go through these cycles to let go of the old to birth in our new skin. It's like the snakes. It's their shedding skin to let go of the old skin to gain this beautiful new shinier skin, right? And so it's these lessons that we're leaving behind, and these karmic energies that are no longer a part of our journey moving ahead to becoming these higher consciousness, higher aware beings, basically, And so it's the end of these illusions, and it's really our ego death. With Pluto being really prominent in this moon phase, it's really forcing us and pushing us to be in our higher selves. And again, with I was speaking in a lot of the readings, it's with the equinox, it's really this shift in mastering and nurturing ourselves and nurturing our relationships to everything. And in order to evolve higher into our higher consciousness, in order to bring in this new age of Aquarius, in order to be evolved into this newer, higher being of who we really are and why we reincarnated here. And so, that intensity of the Pluto and Venus, it's as I was saying, it's that ego death, right? And so it's whether we want to see this shift or not, it's gonna shift. So it's really with all love and respect and saying, you know, we got to check our egos at the door. And so it's really going to cut through the ego to have that ego death, to be able to push forward into, you know, this higher consciousness, this higher learning, this higher awakening, this awareness, that we're just through these planetary phases, that is just naturally and organically. And, you know, with the eclipse seasons, it's really just that cut through, straightforward, you know, we're going to get you from here to there kind of energy. And so, I'm just reading through the notes that I put. So it's really focusing and understanding, like, and I was saying this in one of the readings. It's that duality of, you know, whether I should stay, my ego telling me, you know, I want to stay, but I know I gotta go. It's really, it's playing that balancing act of you fully diving into that death of your ego to get us to this position to step into our divinity, to step into our higher consciousness. And so wherever Mars is in your birth chart, so you can go to freebirthchart.com or something on Google, or just type in free birth chart. There's going to be so many different birth chart calculators that you can type in all your info. But it's the key focus to really pay attention during this time, because that placement in your chart is what's going to help you evolve into, let me reset the camera. That placement, Mars in your birth chart, that placement in your chart is going to help you evolve and get through this transition and know and understand your involvement in being here on planet Earth, and really knowing what it means to transition into your higher self. And so, for instance, my Mars is in Virgo, which is in my 12th house. And so for me, this is meaning that I'm in a position in my life where I'm comprehending what spirituality is to me. And I'm really diving deep into more of my practices and really turning that into what I'm supposed to be doing here through this time. And that's just my superpower of why I reincarnated to be here, is to study these things, is to study and share this knowledge and wisdom. And it's really, you know, me really loving and understanding and really wanting to get to know this, you know, ethereal Neptunian kind of auspicious and what this life really means. So that's where Mars in Virgo of my 12th house is. And so that's the energy that I'm for sure feeling during this time and these phases. And it's no coincidence at all for me where, you know, these shifts have been happening for me the past several months, specifically since like last year, where it's pushed me to be more focused into my spiritual practices, letting go of certain jobs and, you know, endeavors that I thought I was going to be moving forward to continue to pursue in my life, but realizing like, no, this is like the focus for me and this is the direction I'm supposed to go. And that's just naturally, you know, paying attention and doing this work. And again, it's like, this is just what's on our natal charts. And so really focusing and really understanding what your birth chart is what's going to help you understand who you are. And again, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, is these are just tools for us to help us navigate through this whole life thing, to really understand like why we are doing what we do. How are we connected to the planets? How are we connected here into the 3D realm? It's that duality, right? With Saturn and Neptune, it's like, how do we conceptualize all of it together and coexist and it be this reality? And so that's really, these pivotal and key points of what I wanted to share with you guys. So, it's really just diving deep to do this type of work, to understanding your subconscious and conscious mind. It's really educating ourselves to learn these things, right? And so the more we understand, the more knowledge we gain, the more wisdom we gain, the more experience we, get to experience, the more knowledge we gain, the more we gain and gain, right? And so it's really, and then it begins to become easier, as I was saying, to really understand who you are. And it's that very important, it's very important to know who we are, because if we don't know who we are, we're going to fall onto other people's judgments. So it's really getting down into the depths of yourself and understanding these, unconscious things that we are coming to surface, especially during this time. Let it come to surface, because this is giving us the knowledge and wisdom to see what's going on with us and who we really are. And so once we are able to allow ourselves to dig into those, traumas, into those past pains, into what was going on back in 2004, you feel me? It's really giving us this time to fully dive into who we are, so that we can be in our divinity, so that we can step up higher into our knowing and understanding of this life thing. And so, again, it's, really just standing, especially when it comes to relationship to other people, it's knowing how to stand your ground in who you are, especially being in Libra. So, which is based off of relationships. How are we connecting to people in relationships to jobs, in relationships to career, to family, all of that. And so it's showing, it's how you are standing your ground to showing up authentically and true to yourself, regardless of people's opinions, is the main focus. So it's really to just hold your ground. And, that duality again of this can exist and this can exist. So we can coexist and have these two polar opposites exist with each other. And, but the more you're able to do that, it's by understanding who you are. So really diving into your birth chart and understanding these planetary transits and how it all relates and correlates to everything and everything of this lifetime, fam. So I just wanted to jump on here really quick to kind of give everybody these like key dates and stuff and what to look forward to and what to, pay attention to during this time, because it's intense. And so how do we navigate through that intensity? And these are just tools and ways of us to give us, this understanding of this reality and what's going on, and being aware and conscious of what has been suppressed and what's coming up to surface, and how to handle, these emotions and shifts through these times. 'Cause it's not easy, especially if this is like newer knowledge that, coming to, my channel and discovering this. If it's a newer thing for you, this is going to be like, what does this mean? Right. And so this is just kind of more of I wouldn't say, 'cause it goes in depth. So I just wanted to make this more of a straightforward kind of key points of what dates to expect and how to go about these transits. But it goes deeper once you dive into more of why placements are what with the planets and everything. But this is more of a cool kids, like, here, look, this date and this date, check this, do this, and go about this way. So, so I just wanted it to be more of a lighter, a lighter video to kind of stay focused on, what to expect during this time. And so we'll definitely jump into later for the eclipse for later this month. But for now, I just wanted to share these key moments for the upcoming week, and we'll touch base more later on what's going on for the end of the month and into next month. So family, I hope this helped y'all. Most definitely, this is just, again, it's just that self-mastery and doing this work and really understanding who we are and why we came here and what does all that mean. It's really finding these truths and digging into that knowledge and wisdom and helping our brothers and sisters along the way as we continue to keep walking our paths. You feel me? And so this eclipse is going to happen from 2023 now to 2025. So if things aren't shifting for you, obviously, like in the month of October, it's going to, like, within this next year. So again, check out your placements and where all your planetary placements are within this eclipse season, to give you a better understanding where and what to focus on, and what's going to be shifting around your life. So yeah, you guys, I just wanted to jump on here to share all this cool and fun nerdy stuff with you guys because your girl loves to dive into this kind of thing. So I hope this helped and resonated and just gave you guys some sort of clarity to pay attention to, and we'll do more of these fun videos. I love doing these, but these will be just a little bit kind of straight to the point. Hopefully the next one will be shorter. So I love you guys. I hope this helps. Peace, family. Mwah.